Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whichever part of the world you're from. This is Kavita Ramchand from Life Success Coaching in Mauritius. Okay, so I'm reading to you the book You Were Born Rich that has been written by Bob Proctor, who was my mentor. And he has written a phenomenal book. We are on chapter 7 right now. So I'm going to be continuing that. Basically, the book is all about the fact that you are already born rich. Every single human being is born rich. Why? Because we've been blessed with a genie of a mind that can discover the riches in ourselves. We don't need to go anywhere to find it, it's in us. But we need to discover it, we need to become aware of it. All right. So now let's continue. Last time we spoke about, that all your programming as a baby, as a child, as an adult started when you were a baby, when you were a little child. Because the people around you literally programmed you to think the way you think. Your environment, your school, everything basically programmed us. Now let's continue. So he says here, similarly, when you engaged in your first fist fight with the little terror next door, your parents were there to soothe the bruised feelings. They probably tried to console you by saying, "You were right, dear, and the other was wrong. The other child was a bully." Next, they probably said something like, "In the future, dear, be very careful and try to stay away from kids like that." Moreover, if your upbringing was typical of that of most of us, oops, sorry. I just moved, just give me a minute. I just went somewhere else. Okay. So, moreover, if your upbringing was typical of that of most of us, your first bicycle probably brought with it repeated warnings such as be careful and, yeah, be careful, don't fall, watch out, and so on. And I can tell you for sure, I was programmed like that. My father loved me immensely, but he was also always afraid that I might get hurt, that I might get da 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 da. So to keep us safe, he'd rather, just tell us to not do this and not do that and not do that. And unfortunately, I found myself doing the same thing with my son when he was born. History repeats itself because these programming, they become our operating system. They are controlling our whole life. They are basically sabotaging our lives if they are not in harmony with the laws of our being. We are spiritual beings. Okay, we'll read further and you'll understand. So, in this manner, you were slowly but surely programmed to make every move in your life with a brilliant caution light burning brightly on the screen of your impressionable young mind. You know, it's like you have this red alarm in your head the moment you're going to drive, the moment you're going to ride your bicycle, the first time. This might happen, that might happen, all the negative things that might happen because we were programmed to be careful, which we were not supposed to be. So now he says, you must gain the awareness, therefore, that regardless of what anyone may have told you to the contrary, none of us was ever born with a fear of taking risks. We're not born with it, guys. As I have clearly indicated above, the fear of taking risks is something which we learned only after we entered this wonderful world of ours. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad that we had to go through that? We often hear like our parents or grandparents, they talk, they say, in our time, our parents didn't have time to even look at what we were doing, our homework. We were left to our own devices. And the next generation, like my generation, we got everything we wanted. We never had to even, I never had to ask for things. I was always provided by my parents before I could even ask. And because of that, I did not have to think of how I would get things or find ways to get things. No, I was not asked to even, it was not expected of me to do that. So I got raised to be in that safety comfort zone, everything being given to me. There are plus and minus points. I would not say all are plus points because challenges do come in life. Challenges do come, and when those challenges come, and sometimes you have to take risks. I had to take a big risk at one time in my life when I could not understand how I was feeling stuck. And that feeling stuck was because I was in a very comfort zone. I didn't even understand that we should not be in a comfort zone. That's not life. We're not living. We're not living the adventure that we're here to do if we stay in that comfort zone. So I had to take a big risk to invest in myself, to learn from risk takers, those who are taking risks, those who are making things happen in life. And I realized that if I want something and I don't act to get it, to claim it, I'm never going to get it. That's just hoping and wishing. If you want something, you have to really go out and get it. Of course, you cannot violate people's rights along the way. This is something we always need to be careful about. And we can get it if it's in the limits and bounds of nature. Says who that we cannot, isn't it? Okay, let me continue. So he says here, in fact, contrary to what many people have mistakenly been led to believe, the human being, if left to his own or her own desires, oh, I've read this already, is born a risk taker who is naturally programmed to follow the path which will eventually lead to greatness in his or her own life. We are all born as the highest form of creation, right? We are born in the image of our Creator. What is our Creator doing? We are also meant to create, co create with that higher power, co create the life we want to live. Some people have created chairs, aeroplanes, the light bulb. God did not create that. God gave us the power to create that, gave us the mind to create that. Are we using our mind to create the life we want to live? This is something we need to think about because we are meant, every single human being is meant to live a great life. But I continue, but be that it as it may, before you embark on this exciting path of risk taking, you should remember to never lose sight of the fact that becoming a risk taker does not mean becoming an irresponsible individual. If you really think it through, you will realize these two concepts are mutually exclusive. For becoming a risk taker means to act courageously, and to act courageously is considerably different from acting foolishly, which is how a person acts when he or she behaves in an irresponsible manner. See, you take risks, yes, but understand that it's your own courage. That is how it is to take risks. You don't crush somebody else, you don't bully somebody else to become to to bring out your courage. No, that's being irresponsible. We want to understand one thing. We are responsible for our life because it's all based on our own decisions. We decided to act or not act. So we cannot blame anybody. Blaming other people is the worst form of leadership, I would say, because leadership starts with us. Whatever we do, whatever we endeavor to do. If we win, of course, take responsibility for your wins. If you lose, take responsibility for your losses. That's what leadership is all about. And that doesn't make a person a failure, never. That just makes us understand that we need to improve on ourselves. That's all. Failure is not bad. We learn only from failures. But a lot of people have been trained or programmed not to accept failure because we've been so conditioned to, how do you say that? It's not good to fail. Like when, if we fail, it was looked upon as something very bad. So people are afraid to fail, and that's in their programming. Failure is okay. Giving up is never okay. You should never give up on trying to become the greatest version of yourself. Never. Okay, let's continue. So here he says, you might encounter a few situations where the line separating these two concepts becomes extremely narrow. Nevertheless, it is absolutely essential you never cross over that line, inadvertently or otherwise. You never ever want to cross the line of to become irresponsible. Because whatever we do, our actions have consequences. Whether we acted responsibly or not, we will have to face the consequences. And when the consequences come, sometimes if we didn't act responsibly, we start to blame other people for it. That's not how it works. Another thing which you must be aware of, okay, no, I'm not going to read this part now because I've stopped on the other side. Like I do read this book in Creole language, and I always match it same to same. So I'm going to stop here today, and we are going to continue. I'm going to continue on Tuesday. So thank you very much for being here, and take care. Bye bye.